topics, your show. This is Free for All Friday with host Eddie Trunk.
What's happening, everybody? Yes, indeed. We have made it. We have made it to a end of a week, heading into a holiday weekend. And it is, it's Memorial Weekend already, folks. Hope you are lucky enough to have the 3-day weekend. And if you are, enjoy whatever you're doing. Of course, always important to remember the reason for this holiday. And we certainly thank and remember those that made the ultimate sacrifice on Monday with great, great thanks and appreciation. Always important to remember the reason for the holiday on Memorial Monday. So whatever you're doing, whatever you're getting into, hope you enjoy. And I'm very much looking forward to having a 3-day break. And you will hear from me again after today's show live on Tuesday when we resume at, of course, 3 o'clock Eastern. Here on Faction Talk 103 and, of course, on the Sirius XM app. It has been an incredible couple of weeks of guests, capped off yesterday by the legend Alice Cooper, who was phenomenal as always and spent over an hour with us on the air, taking calls, talking about everything and anything. And great, great, great as usual. It was such a trip to have him in my house to do that show yesterday. Again, we normally would have done that from our studio at the Wynn here in Vegas, but it was booked. So as a fallback, I used my home studio, which of course worked fine. But I was thinking about it because, I live in a condo complex here in Vegas. And the people, I actually know one person who's to the right of me, the neighbor to the right of me, and that's it. I don't know anybody else in this complex near me. So I just often wonder, because they don't know who I am or what I do. If anybody's looking through their windows or out on their balconies, hey, that dude kind of looks like Alice Cooper walking into that condo. Or, any of the other past guests. Oh, isn't that Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath walking into a kind of modest condo in Vegas? What? And, everybody. I've had Anthrax here. I've had Wolfgang Van Halen here. I've had Tesla here. I've had Sebastian here. I've had Steve Stevens here. Others, I'm sure I'm forgetting in the time that I've had this place. So some rock and roll history right in this, little condo complex in the southern end of Vegas. Pretty crazy. And yesterday, a true icon was here with us to hang on the radio, Alice Cooper. So if you know what I'm going to say, if you missed Alice yesterday, it is on the app. And it is definitely worth your time to listen. Maybe over the holiday weekend, you'll get caught up on some stuff. We had so many great guests just this week alone. Michael Anthony, phenomenal as usual. Glenn Matlock, founder, original member of the Sex Pistols, phenomenal. Stuart Copeland, of course, a member of the Police on Tuesday's show, incredible. So it's all there for you archived. If you missed anything, go grab it on the app. Over time, we'll roll it out on some other platforms as well, including my podcast, so everybody free to the world can hear it. But as a SiriusXM subscriber, you get first dibs, getting it live, getting to interact, and of course, getting it exclusively on demand for a little while. So make sure you take advantage of that and hear these news-making interviews with the biggest names in rock and metal. Honored to be able to bring them to you each and every day here on Trunk Nation. And it has been an incredible run going back to last week with Phil Collins and Jason Newsted and Neil Sean It's all there for you to get caught up. Today, we are letting you be the guest. Free for All Friday is here. Phone number is 844-686-5863. Chime in on anything you want in the world of rock music. We will have time to take your phone calls, and a lot of them today. It's a fairly light news day, so we'll get over to those phones rather quickly. Today is a fairly big travel day, so if you're on the road, drive safe, and again, hit us up if you want to jump on and talk rock. Again, 844-686-5863, as usual, is our phone number. And if you're listening in our live window, which is 3 to 5 Eastern, and you are listening via the SiriusXM app, you can always just hit the phone icon on the app. That will dial you right into the show as well. So before we get to the calls, also let me let you know we are going to end today, going into the holiday weekend, with something a bit special. Richie Kotzen, a good friend, a phenomenal multi-instrumentalist, best known for guitar and, of course, vocals, is going to be checking in just towards the back end of today's show. Richie released a new song today, Catch a Star. Going to tell us a little bit about that, and we will end the show and end an incredible week by playing that song in its entirety to wrap things up on this Free For All Friday. So get ready for that. Just a little bonus way to end the week and head into the holiday weekend. So again, before we get over to the phones, let me first tell you that last night, of course, with Alice Cooper here, if you were listening, I did go to see for the first time Alice Cooper and Criss Angel performing together in the Welcome to Our Nightmare show, which I've covered quite extensively on this show, with a couple interviews with Alice and a couple interviews with Criss leading into it. They had done a couple runs of this already. I was unable to make those with my schedule, but I did make it last night. And I got to tell you, in full honesty, it was phenomenal. Truly. I cannot recommend it more highly. I did not know what to expect going into it, because, you know, of course, I know what Criss does as a magician and illusionist, and have seen him do his magic show here in Vegas several times. And, of course, I've seen Alice countless times over the decades. And he always delivers, and he's always great. But I did not know how it would work integrating the two. I thought it would work. I assumed it would work, because obviously Alice is theatrical, Criss is theatrical, but you don't know until you see it. And I got to tell you, honestly, I thought it worked brilliantly. It was a phenomenal production. Criss's theater, which I think is a 2,500 seat capacity roughly in Planet Hollywood, is a perfect size. No matter where you sit, you get a pretty good seat, pretty good view. The sound and the visuals in there are fantastic. Criss put a tremendous amount of work developing this show. You got to understand, for him, this was like a bucket list thing, because although he is known for magic and all of that, as you know from him being on this show, he's a huge rock fan. He has a rock look to him, a rock presentation to what he does, and Alice is a hero to him. So he pulled out all the stops to develop this show. He had been working on it for a long time. He finally got Alice to do it, and it works brilliantly. It really, really does. If you are going, and there's shows tonight and tomorrow, and then there's more shows now added late November into early December, couple things you should know. It starts early. There is no opening act, and they are on stage starting the show at 7:15. So do not get in there late. You will miss it. It is not a late show. You are out of there by 9 p.m. I went to dinner with some friends before the show. Actually, my favorite steakhouse is right next to Chris's theater strip house, so I went in there. And we ate. We had like the early bird special. They opened at 5 o'clock. We were like, I felt like I was a senior citizen, which of course I'm not far from. And we were waiting outside the door for the restaurant to open. But we had to get in there early and eat early because the show was starting at 7:15. So I actually got there early. I actually got there at like 4 o'clock. Alice's wife was here at my house with them yesterday. She left her jacket here, so I had to go bring her jacket back to her. So I went over there early because the theater is literally right next door to the restaurant, and went into the theater, watched some of the sound check, saw Criss, saw some of the Alice band guys, and then dropped the coat off, then went next door and ate, and then went back in and was in my seat in time for the start of the show. You should also know, another note if you're going, it is a no cell phone show. So you will have to lock up your phone in one of those pouches known as the Yonder pouch. We've talked about this quite a bit on the show, and many people like that. I do as well. I think that it's great. I had my first experience having to go phone free at a show when I went to see Ghost recently. Know that if you go to this show, you will not be able to use or access your phone while you are in the venue. It's that same deal that you've seen others do. They will lock it in a pouch, give it back to you, and when you get out, they will unlock it. I think it is brilliant that they do that. I am a fan of it. I think it's great. It changes everything about being at a concert before the show, during the show. And I also completely understand why they would do it with this show, because they put so much into the visuals, so much into the magic and the theatrics, that the last thing that they would want is people watching a concert through the back of their phone, which would absolutely happen at a concert like this, because everybody would want to be like, oh, there's Alice doing the guillotine. Oh, there's Criss flying through the air, whatever it is. And you'd be, first thing you're going to want to do is pull your phone up. The other thing that I've talked to friends who are going in to the future shows, they said, what's really cool about this? There's not been anything online. So they're going into the show completely blind as to what it looks like and the visuals, which is also a product of the fact that you can't film it. Now, because I know Criss and Alice, they didn't make me lock up my phone. They just said to me, please don't take your phone out. I said, of course, because they know me, they trust me, and I was able to keep my phone out of the pouch, but they also said, don't even take it out of your pocket, because the ushers might not know that we let you keep your phone, and they will come over if they see a phone come out. But I loved it. You're just consumed with the show for an hour and a half, and you're not looking at text, you're not looking at your phone, you're not taking video, you're not taking photos. And as much as I love sharing some of that stuff with you guys on social media, I totally love shows that are doing this. So know that if you're going. But otherwise, it is a fully produced, there's like this circus vibe before the show starts. They have people going on this harness thing flying around the stage. You can line up and do it. And there's like a guy talking as if he's like the circus ringmaster. And then the show starts. And again, it's super well produced. The lighting, the images, the graphics. And then you've got Alice and his full band doing a tremendous set of great, great songs. All the hits, some deep tracks. Every song, most of the songs, the set changes. The setting around him looks like whatever he's singing about. Like when he did the ballad "You and Me," the stage kind of like went all white, and there was a theme to that. There's always something going on, but not to the point of annoyance. Criss, when he does a magic act within the song, it complements what he's doing. What the song is, it matches the song. It's just, I'm telling you, it was really one of my favorite shows I've seen. And Alice and his band, consistently amazing. Freak of Freaks. They go out into the crowd. They blow confetti. There's fans. There's flying around. There's, and at the core, it's an Alice Cooper show. But with all these extra bells and whistles, on a totally different level in terms of production and what it looks like. So I can't speak of it more highly. It is worth the trip to me if you wanted it. If most people do not live or are not in Vegas. I get that are listening. But there's a lot of people that come to this town every day. It's the most transient city in the country. So if you were considering a trip and you're a big Alice Cooper fan, I would absolutely say it's worth coming in for. It really is. Because who knows when you're going to see it again. Alice is 78. I mean, I know yesterday when he was on the air, he was saying that, he doesn't plan to stop. And, well, he gave a really good answer. He said he's going to stop when he feels like he can't be Alice anymore and can't do it well and properly. And that's the right answer. But the guy's a freak at 78. If you heard the interview yesterday, he's playing golf every day. He's running. He's great answer. No stress, he thinks, is what attributes to his longevity, which means I'm probably going to die tomorrow because all I have is stress, but that's another story. But no, I mean, he was just amazing. And, Criss is 20 years younger, but he's doing crazy stuff still at 58 or whatever he is on stage. So that's my report. It was really, really good, and I plan to try to make at least one more show in this run. They may take this into next year as well. I think it's going to be an ongoing thing around Alice's schedule and the availability of Criss to do this in his theater. They've got it all built out. They've got it all set up so they can plug in and do it. And look, after the show, I talked to Criss and Alice for a while. I got a photo. I'll post it in a minute. And with them in their costumes and stuff that we took after the show, because I sat and talked with them for a bit. And Criss shot some video of me talking about the show with Alice too, so I don't know what they're doing with that. But anyway, Criss absolutely wants to build this out and do more of this with other artists. And he was telling me last night backstage some of the artists he's talking to and trying to talk into doing it. I can't tell you who they are, obviously, but because he asked me not to, but he wants to make this a thing. He wants to make this, he really wants to run with this and continue to develop these kind of shows for other theatrical rock artists and do them in this theater. So where that goes, we'll see. But to me, the Alice Cooper one was an absolute slam dunk, and I highly, highly recommend it. And again, that's a truthful, unbiased review. It has nothing to do with the fact that both of those guys are friends. If I didn't think it was that great, I'd be like, yeah, it was pretty cool, and I'd just move on. I wouldn't slam it. But I'd be honest, I wouldn't slam it. But I tell you, yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it was cool. But no, seriously, it was really, really good. So there's that. And then this weekend, I am going to, as I mentioned earlier this week, I saw The Warning for the first time live, loved it. And they are opening for Youngblood, who I will see tonight in Los Angeles at the Greek, along with The Warning. And there is a Youngblood private event that I'll be in town for tomorrow. So when I'm back on the air with you guys on Tuesday, I did see 5 songs by Youngblood the other night, but not the full set. But when I'm back with you guys live on Tuesday, I'll have a much more in-detail report on all of that. So that'll be a good one to tell you about when we get back into action after the holiday break. On Monday, for the holiday, you're going to get the AC/DC Top 20 as our best of. And then, of course, back live on Tuesday. Okay, so real quick, some news, then we'll get to you guys on the phones. Speaking of The Warning, they released officially their new song today called Ego. They actually released this song on Monday on Apple, exclusively to Apple streaming. They actually played it when I saw them Tuesday. They're playing 3 new songs in their live set. Officially, the song was released today with a music video, and they continue touring, opening for Youngblood. And in their native Mexico, they are doing stadiums, folks. Crazy what's happening with this band. So it's really good because when you look at Youngblood, when you look at The Warning, you're talking about artists who are in their 20s and really gathering some incredible steam, and it's good for rock. No matter if you like their music or not, that's your decision. That's totally subjective and totally cool, however you land on it. But if you are rooting for the future of rock, this stuff is good. It's good that it's happening. Violet Breed, one of 2 side projects Tesla bassist Brian Wheat has going, released a new song today called Sing. Albert Bouchard, an original member of Blue Oyster Cult, even though he's not been in the band for a number of years. We talked about graphic novels the other day. He's released has a second one coming called Imaginos 2. Tommy Lee, who we've talked about in the past, is putting out a reissue of one of his previous solo records, remixed in Atmos, expanded. Today, he released an original track and video from that album called Stupid World. John 5, who of course is now his bandmate in Motley Crue, makes an appearance in the video as well. As I mentioned, Richie Kotzen, he'll close the show today with his new song, Catch a Star. We'll hear from Richie coming up a little bit later on, but that is officially out today. In the case of The Warning, 3 new songs. Obviously, it's leading to an album. You see this trend with everybody now. Single. Oh, yeah, by the way, there's a full album coming. Another single, full album. So we're seeing this as the norm now, and I'm sure that's the trend with them. Richie, I believe, is talking single only at this point. Ultimately could lead to an album. We'll see. The Pretty Reckless, we know they have an album coming. Another single from that today. Title track, Dear God, released. Jeff Beck with a semi-autobiography. Of course, Jeff Beck has passed away, but they finished off a book on Jeff called Blow by Blow, coming out on July 14th. Of course, the name of one of Jeff's classic records. Jeff Beck, the guitarist for sure. One of the most influential and iconic players of all time. Ted Nugent, file under the NBEE category. Ted has said he's done touring and has done nothing but continue to add concert dates. He has now added like 10 more shows in July and September. So there you go. Ted Nugent's farewell from touring lasted about 3 days. We love Ted, so I got no problem with him still going. It's just funny. Every day there's an NBEE example. Pearl Jam have a new drummer, but they're not announcing who it is. Stone Gossard, in an interview right here on Sirius XM on Pearl Jam Radio, saying that he thinks there should be some mystery back in rock music again. So they are holding off telling everybody who their new drummer is. He will be revealed on September 27th when Pearl Jam plays at the Ohana Festival. Of course, Matt Cameron announced his departure from the band. And speaking of drummers, we had Phil Collins on the show about a week ago. We all know that Phil has been battling serious health issues. Sounded great when he was on with us. Again, you can go hear that on the app if you want. And even though we did not do that over video, so I did not physically see Phil Collins because he was in New York, I was in Vegas for the interview. He was, needing assistance in walking. As you know, when Genesis performed, he sat in a chair and sang. He was asked if he would perform at his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction as a solo artist, and unfortunately gave an answer that it's highly unlikely due to his health. So again, to my point, and we see this sadly constantly with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they wait so long and snub people for so long who are so clearly deserving. This is what you get when they finally go in. We've seen it 1,000 times with so many bands. Most recently, Bad Company. You snub a band for 30 years because you got to put the White Stripes in first, which is just absurd. And then when you get to the bands, they can't stand, they can't sing, they can't play, they can't walk, or they're not, worst of all, they're not alive. Sad. Sad, sad, sad. So don't expect a performance from Phil Collins, unfortunately, when he does get the official induction ceremony. And, you know, I touched on this yesterday, but I didn't have time to really dig in on it because Alice Cooper was walking in. So I had to, cut news a little short yesterday. But what's going on with the whole Iron Maiden thing and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is just incredible to me. I don't think there has ever been a band that has given less fucks about being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, they don't... According to that interview I referenced yesterday with Dennis Stratton, who again was the guitar player only on the first album, they don't even want him going. And he's not been in the band for 45 years. And they don't, the poor bastard's sitting there like finally something that he could like bask in some glory or get some acknowledgement. And he's like, yeah, they really don't want me going. They don't want any representation. I thought maybe me, Nico, and Blaze would go. It's insane. It's so funny to me. But again, this is a byproduct of being snubbed. When you snub a band, Iron Maiden's first album came out in 1980. Okay, 25 years after first album, you become eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that would mean Iron Maiden has been eligible for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for 21 years. Quick math there. 21 years. And they're finally going in on year 21. They were snubbed for over 2 decades. Now, maybe if they weren't snubbed for that long, maybe if they were put in a reasonable amount of time, like within 2 or 3 years of eligibility, they'd have a different feeling about it. So even if it's not a health thing, when it becomes a disrespect thing, can you blame these bands? But it's funny because we know Maiden are in Australia. We know, I'm telling you, if Maiden were playing across the street the night before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with a night off the next day, they weren't going. And now the guys that aren't in the band that were inducted, Dennis Stratton is like doing interviews. He's trying to get any sort of attention for, hey, I'm going in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Oh, really? Who are you? I played half the guitar on one Maiden record, but I'm going in, really. I'm Dennis Stratton. I want to fly to LA. I want to be there and rub shoulders with others. And then he doesn't know if he's going. Oh, man. That's so classic Maiden. I'm telling you, I could... there's stuff I could tell you, but I got to be careful because, again, there's stuff that's private, stuff that's public. But suffice it to say, Maiden does not even want to talk about this. They don't even want interviewers to bring it up. And Dennis Stratton, in that interview that I read, he did have one really good point, which I've said many times, because they talked about the fan voting, which again is totally meaningless for the most part. I think the number one fan voter the last couple of years for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame didn't get in. So that tells you how much the fan vote means. But Dennis Stratton said something that was very true. He said, and I said this several times in the last couple months, in the fan voting, Maiden came in somewhere like in the middle of the pack, middle to bottom end of the pack. But that's only because they did not want to even go in. They didn't want to deal with this. So they did not engage their fan base and tell their fan base to vote for them. If they did, Maiden would have won the fan voting by a landslide. If they would have went on their social media and said, hey, everybody around the world, we really want this, vote for us to win the fan vote, they would have blown every other artist out of the water because of their fan base. But they didn't activate them. They didn't do any of that. And Dennis Stratton said that. Dennis Stratton said in the interview, he goes, Maiden would have clearly won the fan vote if they would have engaged the fans, but they didn't. They did the opposite. They ignored the whole thing. And I just find that so Maiden, and because they're so steadfast in the way they do things, and so, I don't know the word for it, but it's worked, man. It's worked. Look at how big they are. I think it's great. Again, from a fan perspective, yeah, sure, it'd be great to see them play. It would be great if they were there, just for the visual and because us as fans, know this is deserved and overdue. But, it's kind of between, the Phil Collins thing and between this, yeah, that's what you get. Snub people for so long, to my point, and this is what you get. Joel, anything you want to bring up?
We'll play a bunch of the new music you already mentioned today. We'll start with The Warning as we go to break here. A couple of stories from yesterday that we didn't have time to get to surrounding new music. The horror film director John Carpenter is releasing a metal album. It's set to release sometime in August, and it's going to accompany a graphic novel. It's titled Cathedral. So I gave a listen to the single, and it sounds like you would expect, like kind of like horror and metal together, like you would expect from something John Carpenter. It was worth a listen, so I suggest anybody to check that out. Another album that was announced, the band President, that masked band where they all wear president masks, have announced their first full-length album. It's called Blood of Your Empire, set to arrive September 4th. And an artist who showed up on our new music show, Dan Byrne, has released a new record today. This is where the show begins. We'll see if we've got time to play a piece of that during today's show, but everybody who is interested can go check that out.
Yeah, we will get to one of our new music spotlight shows. I really want to do those more often than we are, but again, if you listen every day, you can just hear these 2 hours fly by. We cover so much, and we've been so stacked with legendary guests, which again, good problem to have. Just finding open shows, breathing room to be able to do some of that stuff. So we'll get to it when there's some downtime in terms of guests. But and I'll let you know what we're going to do next week. We're going to start the week next week on Tuesday, open phones, and then we'll dig into the week as we go. It'll be a short week, so we'll see. All right, again, 844-686 5863. We're going to go with your calls now for about the next hour, and then we're going to have a brief chat with Richie Kotzen, who will tell us about his brand new song, and we will end the show going into the holiday weekend with the new song from Richie, a little musical segment, which we rarely do, but thought it'd be good to give you a little song going into the holiday and signing off from a great week, and we'll do that a little later on in the show. But when we come back, it's all about you and what you want to talk about and bring up, any of the past guests, shows, anything in rock. You know the drill. 844-686-58 in line 6. Here's Mark in Texas is our first caller today. What's going on, Mark?
Man, Eddie, I love you to death. I love your shows, everything about what you talk about every day.
Thank you, Mark.
I'll make this as quick as I can because I know you love moving on. Get as many in as you can. Hey, next time Sammy's on, I don't know if this is an MTV copyright thing, but I would love for Sammy to put his 84 show in St. Louis out on Blu-ray if possible. You can see it on YouTube, but it's like it is. It's grainy. It's old. I know they could remaster that and put it out, that show that was the original MTV Saturday Night Show, but I don't know who owns it.
Yeah, I don't know who shot that and who owned it. The problem with that stuff, Mark, is unfortunately these Blu-rays, DVDs, physical discs, putting out concerts, they just do not sell. Everybody just wants to stream, and I've had some experience with that and talking to people in doing it. It's very, very hard to sell those things now. There's not, they're putting them in box sets and things like that, and they're putting Blu-rays with Blu-ray audio, but even that's very, very special sort of thing that's just packaged with a box with other stuff. But as a standalone Blu-ray or something like that, they're hard to sell these days. They're hard to get people to buy, and people who still have the players and all of that. It sucks because I love that stuff too, but I know from a label standpoint and to put money into producing something like that, it's not something a lot of these companies want to do.
Yeah, and just two more quick things. Another Sammy kind of thing, but I know you had Neil Schon on the other day, and I know you've talked about this part of their career. But have either one of them said, I'm gonna make this quick because I'm going to get this out so you can answer, I'll hang up. Have either Neil or Sammy ever said recently that they would ever do another HSAS album? I love the original one, loved it to death, and it was great. Also, I've got an idea for you with your rant on the snubbing of the Rock Hall thing with what Iron Maiden's doing. I think this would be funny. I'm not putting this on any other band. If they want to go show up and be honored, that's fine. But I think it'd be hilarious if somebody like Iron Maiden put it out to everybody like Billy Idol and whoever else. Hey, if you want to give the middle finger to the Rock Hall, we'll make you our opening act in Australia that night. I just think that'd be a scream, just to make a point, because your point is so big. This is freaking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they're doing this to people, and it makes you and all of us mad. But Eddie, you have a great weekend, and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, Mark. And I'm not sure where you are in Texas, but if you are near Dallas, I'll be in McKinney on the 25th of June for a speaking show at Guitar Sanctuary, and I'll be in Houston on the 27th to host Tom Kiefer and LA Guns at Warehouse. The problem with Mark's idea about, others teaming up against the Hall of Fame and some of the snubbage that happens is that every artist is different where they land on it. You have artists that feel like Maiden do. Steve Miller notoriously spoke out against it. Others refused to show up. I think Johnny Rotten didn't show up, or the Sex Pistols didn't show up at all when they were inducted. And then you have others that, say they're kind of indifferent about it, but publicly they say the right things. And then you have others that openly campaign, and it's a really important thing to them, and they really want to be a part of it. Bon Jovi comes to mind, who is in that camp. I can tell you, knowing Sammy Hagar as well as I do, he's in that camp. He would love to be inducted as a solo artist. He told me that. So, unfortunately, I don't see that happening, even though I think it should. But just putting their hat on my head, I don't see it happening. But for Sammy, he said it was important to him. He told me that over a drink about a year ago. So everybody lands differently. So everybody's not under the same tent that you could convince others to boycott or something like that. And Maiden would never do that, because Maiden, you can read between the lines as to what's going on and how they feel, but they're not publicly they made one public nice statement and that's it. So they're not going to publicly cause a mutiny. Here's Robert in Louisiana. What's up, Rob?
Thanks for taking my call, man. I went to Dallas Wednesday and seen April Wine and Triumph, man. It was an amazing show. April Wine's like the perfect band for opening those. They played about 10 songs. As far as Triumph goes, man, what can you say? Gil fronts the band a little bit. He comes out behind the drum set and sings phenomenal. Rick still sounds good, even though it's not 1981 Rick. The 2026 version is still good. Phil X, man, I was blown away by this dude, man. I had never seen him before, man, and I didn't know the dude could sing like that. He just completely stole the show for me. And it's just a great rock show. And I also hear a lot about them playing Rocky Mountain Way. Why aren't they playing originals? They play Rocky Mountain Way, and that's where all the solos come in, the drum solos, the bass solos, and lead guitar solos. So it's about 8 to 10 minutes long, and that's what they're doing with that song. It's not bad. It's pretty good. So, anyway, just want to give my take on it, man. I'm still, my liver's
Where
still
was the show? Where did they play? In
Irvine, Dallas, Texas, one of the sheds. Seats about 15,000. There's probably about 11, 12 there.
Okay.
So it was a good show, solid, man. And like I said, Phil X, man, I hadn't seen him before, man. He just completely blew me away on his presence and his guitar. I didn't know he could sing like that, man. I mean, you thought it was Rick Emmett singing. I mean, he was just nailing it, song after song after song. So
yeah, well, Phil's got a great voice. He's got his own band called Phil X and the Drills. Of course, his main thing now is playing in Bon Jovi, and he does a lot of vocal stuff in Bon Jovi, helping John out, just like Richie did. And he during COVID, Phil X made these social media videos, like many artists did, where they jammed with people. And he would do like Zeppelin covers and stuff like that. And that's with him singing, and that was incredible too. Yeah, vocally, he's got a very powerful voice.
I'm definitely going to do a deep dive on him, because I knew he could play guitar, but I didn't know his singing ability was like that. I mean, he's right up there with Miles Kennedy and stuff as far as hitting notes. He was phenomenal. So, but Rick sounded good. Gil comes out from behind the drums, sings about 3 or 4 songs. They got the dual drums, 2 guys playing different drums, and so when Gil comes out, the other guy's playing. And it was a great show, If you're on the fence about going, man, I recommend you go. It's a phenomenal show. Lasts about 2.5 hours.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. Pretty much, I'd say 90% of the response since the Triumph Tour has been going has been positive, which is good to see, because there were people that were skeptical about it. I myself wasn't sure what to expect. I also wasn't sure how it was going to be received, given that it is such a radically different presentation for Triumph, meaning that Triumph, their entire career, for the most part, was a trio. And you have a situation now where it's 2 of the 3 guys with 3 additional guys making it a 5-piece band. So it's a very different thing. And, there were, even the guys in Triumph put out a statement on their website saying, I know people are looking at this as a Triumph tribute. It's not. 2 of the 3 original members are here. We're just bringing additional guys to help us, because they're very honest about their being very transparent about their limitations at this point in their life, being able to sing and play. Less than a year ago, I did that event. I did something with Rick Emmett in in Cancun at that event that I co-host, The Sands. And Rick and I were on stage, and I talked to him, and we did like a Q&A while he played songs, and we took questions from the audience. And Rick talked about all his issues vocally, like trying to sing how high that stuff was. But, as we got into it, Rick really started to have his voice open up more, and he started to get closer to how he would be able to sing those songs back in the day. And I think that gave him some confidence that day that he was going to be able to do this at a respectable level. As far as the Triumph performing Rocky Mountain Way, for those that don't know, they actually recorded that. It is a cover, but they recorded it. It's a pretty well-known song in their catalog. Let's go to New Hampshire and welcome Chief to the show. What's going on, Chief?
Hey, how you doing, Eddie?
Good, man.
Hey, I want to talk about my last two concerts. So Sunday night, my wife and we saw Queensryche, and they were really good, very good performance. I guess the thing I'd say when you talk about keeping rock alive with new rock, it'd be nice to keep rock alive with old rock, because I think there was maybe 300 people there. And we got moved. There was curtains up. We actually didn't sit in our seats. We were like ended up in like the 10th row. That's how far we got moved.
This Tate or Queensryche?
Queensryche.
Queensryche. Okay.
Yeah, it was Queensryche. They were good. It's just I don't know. I guess I have a little sympathy for them. That I get it. They don't have the original singer, but it was just loud only. I mean, maybe there was 400. Maybe I'm being a little too cheap, but it was small.
Well, like I said, Chief, like I said the other day, man, I mean, and it's just the reality. And again, I'm not trying to be negative in any way, but the reality is for a lot of these bands from that era, especially some that don't have key members in the lineup anymore, the draw is around that. Some of it's less than that. They do anywhere between 200 to 400 hard tickets, most of them, not all of them, but most of them. And that's why so many of them get packaged up with 2 or 3 other acts, or you see them, opening for a bigger act, or you see them on casino dates and state fairs and things like that, because it's not about selling what's known in the business as a hard ticket. There's very few that do hard tickets. The other thing about Queensryche is they play and tour a lot. And they've been out there with a lot of people in a lot of different configurations. So that, too, plays into it a little bit, too, because sometimes they go through too many times.
Yeah, well, and I get that. And that's why I said obviously there was no opening act or anything like that. It was just them. But now, Tale of Two Cities, though. So 2 nights ago on Wednesday, my wife and I went and saw Satch Vai down at the Boston Pavilion. I don't know which bank owns it now. I got to tell you, Eddie, I don't even know what to tell you. I've never seen them together, and it was just absolutely blew me away. I would say it's, probably one of my top 10 concerts of my lifetime. They were absolutely, I'm speechless. They were unbelievable. And I've seen them before, but again, I haven't seen them together. And what an all-star band with Arnott and Mendoza. And it just was amazing, Eddie. Absolutely amazing. So I highly recommend people to go see them.
Yeah, I've got to check them out. I'd like to. I haven't seen them do this as a joint thing. Thank you, Chief. If they come to my area, I think they got a Vegas date, but if it's convenient where I can see them, I would. They're both great people too, really good people. So I'd like to check them out. Thanks for that. And there's been good response to that as well. Let's say hi to Jim. He's joining us from Pennsylvania today. Hi, Jim.
How you doing, Eddie?
Good, Jim. What's going on, buddy?
I got 2 things. One is about the Rush tour.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been a Rush fan now. I'm 56 years old. I kind of got into them when I was 13. They were my first concert at 14. And I saw them every time they came to Pittsburgh after that tour. That was 15 times. I just can't wrap my head around this. I mean, it doesn't feel right to me. So,
you're within your right to feel that way. I mean, for most people, and clearly the ticket sales have shown that most people disagree with you because it did gangbusters business, and the Rush fans are so crazy fanatical that they're just so happy that these songs are going to be played live again. But I don't think it's crazy for you to feel like that. I can understand you saying that.
Yeah, that's just where I'm at with this whole thing. So,
But here's the big question. Will you go?
No, I'm not going.
Okay.
I already said for me, I would have to travel to the Cleveland show sold out too fast. And I think the closest one for me would be Washington, D.C., and I'm not going to travel. So even if it came to Pittsburgh, it would be still probably not. So. Right.
The question would be, hypothetically, if there was a show close to you within a half an hour or something, would you go then, or you still would not go because you don't feel right about it?
No, I would not go.
Okay, there you go. That's fair. I mean, because that's the thing. Sometimes we get people that say stuff like that, Jim, and they're like, yeah, well, I'll still go, and then they bitch about it. So I respect you. I respect what you're saying. I would go, and I probably will go, and I hope to go because, and thank you, Jim, for the call, for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's what I do for a living. So, covering this stuff, being able to report on it is important. And being able to see it so I can talk about it with you guys for good, for bad, for average, whatever it ends up being. But whenever I go to see a show or a band and the band is missing a key member and it's a different version of the band, if I was to go, and I do go, I have to look at it for what it is. For instance, if I go see Pantera now, even though it's labeled Pantera, I don't go to it saying, hey, I saw Pantera last night. If you notice, Zach never calls it Pantera. He always calls it Pantera Celebration. Because I saw Pantera with the original band. That's Pantera. This is more to me a tribute/version of Pantera. If you go see Foreigner now, you can't say you can say technically on paper you saw Foreigner because that's how it's billed. But you didn't see one original member in the band. You saw a really good sanctioned Foreigner tribute band. Same thing with Skynyrd. Same thing with other bands. April Wine came up a couple times because they're opening for Triumph. I think there's technically no original members there. There's one from the classic period. So you just have to look at it and kind of put a little asterisk on it and know what you're seeing is a version of in some ways. So when it comes to Rush, I mean, I think even Geddy made a statement once that there is no Rush without Neil Peart. Well, now we are going to have Rush without Neil Peart. And most people are all in on it and can't wait because Rush fans are beyond fanatical. But I do understand a segment of them, feeling the way our caller felt. And I think anybody saying that they're going to see Rush coming up in their mind are going to put a little asterisk on it. Because 20 years from now, if a kid comes up to me, and God willing, I'm still here, and says, yeah, man, I saw Rush. And I go, oh, yeah, what year did you see him? And they say 2026. I would say, well, you kind of saw Rush. You saw a version of Rush. Well, what do you mean? Well, there was no Neil Peart. It's really, So you see what I'm saying? And it might be spectacular in 2026. But I'm just saying, when you look at these bands, without key members, you got to look at it in a different way. And if it doesn't sit right with you, I respect the caller's decision to not go. That's how you should handle it. You just don't go. Again, I'm the biggest Kiss fan in the world. I didn't go see Kiss for over 20 years because it didn't sit right with me. I certainly could have, but it wasn't for me. I could not look at it because of the Tommy Eric dressed as Ace and Peter bit. Had nothing to do with those guys, had nothing to do with their ability or their talent or them as people. That was the line for me that I couldn't accept. There was no way I could sit and watch Tommy Thayer play Shock Me and sing it, dressed as Ace Frehley. There's no way. And that has nothing to do with Tommy personally, who I love. He was there and hired to do his job. That was the job he had to do. But it didn't sit right with me. I went one time. Wasn't right, never went again. And it would have been ridiculous for me to keep going and keep bitching about it. Okay, this is what they're doing. Nope, I'm out. Now, consequently, last year, when Kiss did their no makeup show here in Vegas, I went and I watched it. And I was fine with it because they weren't in makeup. So I wasn't watching the impersonation act, just watching 4 musicians playing Kiss songs. 2 original members. It sits differently with me. So to each their own. You have to frame this stuff however you feel about it, and I don't think there's any real right or wrong answers. Let us take a quick break here. And when we come back, we will keep rolling through a free-for-all Friday on Trunk Nation. Richie Kotzen's going to drop in. We're going to premiere a song that he released today to close the show, coming up a little bit later on. It's been a huge week with so many huge guests. Again, get caught up on the app. Alice Cooper yesterday was our latest. We'll be right back with more of your calls here on a free-for-all Friday on Trunk Nation.
Free-for-all Friday.
Let the audience steer things and just get involved and have a conversation.
With Eddie Trunk. Sirius XM. Faction Talk.
Back to your calls on a Free-for-all Friday. Talking rock, 844-686-5863. Wrapping up a busy week here on Trunk Nation. Back live after the weekend on Tuesday. We are going to go back to the phones right now and welcome in a good friend and somebody you hear on the Busted Open show. Our buddy Dave LaGreca is checking in. Dave, how are you, man?
What's up, buddy, man? I don't want to take too much of your time, but I had to give you a call today because what a wonderful job with Alice Cooper yesterday. It may have been, in the 40-plus years that I've been a fan of his, maybe the best conversation, not an interview, conversation that I've heard with Alice. So I wanted to call in and give you your props. I mean, you're the best. You're awesome in those situations, but seriously, and I know that your fans know this, you don't ask the typical generic questions. You ask the questions that everybody wants to hear answers to, and you did that yesterday with Alice, and I had to call in and thank you for that.
Oh, man, that is too kind of you, man. I really appreciate that, and that means a lot to me coming from you. And I know you're a big Alice fan. You've not seen the show he's doing with Criss Angel in Vegas, right?
No, I'm going in November.
Oh, okay. Dave, you're going to love it, man. I went last night for the first time, and I'm, no bullshit. It is really, really cool what they did.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I've seen him over 40 times, but from every review I've read, this is maybe his best show yet. So I'm definitely going to check it out in November.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfect size theater, and what Criss does with the visuals and the magic, it's not over the top, it's not understated, it complements the songs, and, Alice is a freak, man. At 78, still sounding unbelievable. The band is great, so you're going to have a great time. Definitely, I'll probably be here, because I want to go to another show when he does that next run around then. So definitely hit me up when you're in town, because at the very least we'll get together, but maybe I'll be at that show as well.
Sounds great. And he does a great job of, like you mentioned yesterday, swapping out songs. Like this past tour, he opened with a song he's never played live before. So when you go to see him every tour, it's not the same set list every single time. He does a great job of mixing it up and bringing in old songs or newer songs. So anybody out there that hasn't seen Alice, definitely see him on this latest tour.
Yeah, it's amazing how good he still is at his age. You guys doing all right over there on your show?
Well, yeah, dude, we're a channel now. We're Pro Wrestling Nation 24/7 on Channel 156. So we went from being 1 hour once a week to now a 24/7 channel on Sirius. So thanks for the support, amazing, my friend.
Yeah, man. Congratulations. That is so cool. Good for you guys. Well, listen, man, stay in touch, Dave, and definitely hit me up if I don't see you before that, but hopefully we'll get a chance to see each other. But definitely let's try to hang when you get to Vegas, if I'm here and you're here.
Dude, I listen every day, man. So I appreciate all the work that you do.
Thank you, man. Thanks so much, Dave. I appreciate the call.
All right, have a wonderful weekend, man.
See you, man. You too. There he goes, Dave LaGreca, busted open with their own show, their own channel. Their own channel. That is awesome. I knew that. I just, in full honesty, and Dave knows this, I don't follow pro wrestling. I used to, when I was a little kid, I was way into it, and I know it's huge. And I've got some friends who are wrestlers like Jericho and all that, great people there, but I don't follow it like many still do. Joel, you're into it, right?
Yeah, and AJ is working over there now. He produces Sam Roberts' show on that channel.
That's right. That's why AJ left us, right?
Yeah, that's the job he got. So he got the promotion, and he's on that channel.
Right, and they had Ed Robinson over there, too. The late, great Ed Robinson was there for a little bit.
Yeah, his first position, I believe, after he moved off of this show was with Busted Open.
Look at that.
And I was with Busted Open over a decade ago as an intern before they were on 5 days a week as well.
Wow. So there's definitely some cross-pollination here between Busted Open and Drunk Nation, even though totally different types of shows. But, well, that's not entirely true, because Dave is a big rock and metal fan, as you could tell. And so is his brother Don, who is on ESPN Radio in New York, who's also
I also worked with.
It's like, what is this? Like 6 degrees of Busted Open or something. But yeah, so that's very, very cool. Good stuff. I appreciate Dave taking the time to say that. That's very kind. All right, let's go back to more calls. Here's Chris in New York. Go ahead, Chris. What do you got?
Hey, Eddie, this is a two-parter. Did you ever get that Richie Sambora interview? And
no.
I know his new
I got to revisit that with him.
And then just my take as a super huge Bon Jovi fan, kind of what you were saying. Phil X is amazing. I mean, to be in both those bands, quite the guy, but he's not Richie Sambora. That's got to be tough. Like, Tommy Thayer playing Ace. But I was just wondering what your take was on this whole Bon Jovi thing coming up as well, because I started seeing Bon Jovi when I was 12. I'm going to be 54, and as much as I love Phil X, I had to drop out too. But just your thoughts on all that.
Well, look, we know there's a million bands that have had key members that you thought were irreplaceable, and the people replace them, and the band goes on, and people go, and in most cases, they still do pretty good business. So the thing that was different for me, and thanks, Chris, what made the Kiss thing a line for me in the sand was the visual. Again, it would with me with Kiss, they were my gateway band for the most part. 1976, junior high school, changed my life. You know, the most important band to me growing up, without a doubt. But, you know, there's always been these totally false narratives out there about me and Kiss. There's he's only an Ace guy because he knows Ace, or he's only an original lineup guy. That's all total bullshit. And I could give you a million examples of proof of that, because I supported Kiss through all of the no makeup years, all of the no makeup albums, all of the no makeup tours. Eric Carr was a dear friend of mine. Bruce Kulick is still a friend of mine. I love all those eras. I could name you and talk to you about every song on every one of those non-original records. That was never it. But for me, the problem was, and I loved when Eric Carr came in and was his own guy, the Fox. Vinnie Vincent came in, the Yonk Warrior. Fine. They were their own identities. The problem for me personally, as a fan, and by the way, for many, many others at the time that it happened, over time, everyone's like, everything's fine, everything's cool, you know, they accept anything. You get used to it. I never got used to it. It was never right to me. Now, if they would have put Tommy in his own persona and Eric in his own persona, I would have been all in. So it's a different thing with Kiss, because it's the musician changing, but it's also was the presentation, the personality, the image, the character being replicated. It would be like, you know, if AC/DC didn't have Angus Young, they brought out another guy, they put him in a schoolboy outfit. I mean, everyone has a line, right? Now, when you go back to Bon Jovi with Sambora, I'm not diminishing at all Richie's contributions to Bon Jovi. They're enormous as a writer, a player, and a singer. And I would never have thought that Sambora would have been in a situation, or Bon Jovi would have been in a situation where they could have made it without Sambora. But John is the face of the band. The band is named after him. He is the sole person that runs that band and was signed to the contract with the record deal. And it's still called Bon Jovi, and he's still at the front of the stage with the $1 million smile, making the girls scream. And as long as he keeps doing that, yeah, there's a segment of people like the caller and others that will not go, no matter how good the replacements are, because it's not that guy they want to see. And that's totally okay. I don't have a problem with that. I understand that. I really do. They're all personal decisions. For me, when I look at Bon Jovi, beyond Richie not being there, there's a way bigger thing that's different about Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi changed tremendously as a band, even when Richie was in the band. And Richie will tell you it's one of the reasons why he maybe isn't in the band anymore, because he didn't like the direction they were going in. But I think people forget that in the 80s, Bon Jovi were a big, loud, bombastic arena rock band that catered to, that drew hard rock fans, you know, even the fringes of metal fans that were open to melodic music, rock fans, hard rock fans, pop fans. But they were definitely marketed and part of a hard rock scene. You know, playing with Scorpions or Rat, or they were part of that, right? And if you saw those shows, you know, Slippery When Wet, New Jersey period, I mean, they were a completely different band. not in terms of personnel, but the way they presented on stage and the way their music sounded and the way they approached a live show. John rising out of the floor, dancing around the whole time, running in the lighting rafters. He was an unbelievable frontman. It was a big, high-energy hard rock show. And then, not sure when this happened, maybe somewhere around these days period, they changed. The music got way more mainstreamed out. It was not nearly as big and loud and arena rock oriented. And the presentation totally changed. John did not move at all like he used to. And to this day, he comes out, he posts up at the microphone. Half the time he's playing a guitar and he sings the song. So it's a totally different visual and musical presentation in terms of energy and the way it is. And again, everyone evolves, everyone changes, but that is the big change that people don't seem to talk about. You go watch the Lay Your Hands on Me video, and now you watch videos or hear songs from their recent records. It's radically different in the type of music, the presentation of the music, the visual, everything. And look, who's to say it's wrong? Because the guy's still going to sell out 10 nights at Madison Square Garden. Without Sambora, who knows how he is vocally? But, people are going to go because that catalog is enormous. But the thing about Bon Jovi, Sambora not being there is huge. But Phil is a great sub, okay? But to me, the bigger thing about Bon Jovi is just in the delivery and execution and performance is completely different than it once was. Here's Joel in Texas. Go ahead, Joel.
Hello?
Hey, Joel, you're on the air.
Oh, sorry. Give me a second. I was in the restroom. Give me a few seconds. Hold on.
Oh,
okay.
Joel's...
Hey, it's okay. I've been waiting. Hey, I just wanted to say a few things. I'm going to talk really fast because I got a lot of things to cover, okay? I just wanted to tell you how much we appreciate what you do and how you keep us young. And also, I'm sorry, I'm a single parent. I'm running around trying to take care of a bunch of things. I'm just a mess right now. But anyway, I went to the Triumph show last night here in San Antonio, Texas. Man, the arena was almost like sold out, I believe. It's 19,000 capacity. The place was packed. And Rick and Gil, an amazing job. Phil X, wow, man. Wow, incredible. If they're coming to your town, you need to go and see these guys, man. My God, they were amazing. Gil came out on the Rocky Mountain. What's that cover song that they do, Rocky Mountain Way? Yep. He came out and he left the drum set and the other drummer, I forget his name, Brett Fitz, right? I think Brett Fitz.
Brent Fitz, yeah.
He was on there. Oh my God, amazing. And the bass player, oh my fucking God, he was incredible voice, man.
That's
swear.
Todd Kearns.
Todd Kearns, man, I was in tears almost, man, because these guys came. I've never seen them. I've been a fan for years. I remember them in the 80s. I'm from South Texas, in Kingsville, Texas, and I used to listen and hear about the radio station in San Antonio, how they brought them over. Yeah. We were all familiar with this station, 99.5 Joe Anthony. There was another station in Laredo, Texas with the Jaded Warrior, and that's how I heard about a lot of these bands, man. But God, this amazing show. Amazing. If these guys come to your town, you need to go and see them. And if Rick and Gil couldn't ever play their instruments again, and if it came to them, man, they could just front a band and have that band back them up. My God, I would go and see them. I would. Amazing job. And again, thank you for everything you do, Eddie, for all of us, man. You're the fountain of youth of the airwaves, man.
Oh, Joel, thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Thank you, Joel, for calling in. Fountain of youth at 61. I'll take that. Talked to Alice yesterday about this stuff keeping us young, but I don't know if either of us would say we're fountain of youth. But thank you, buddy. It's amazing with the Triumph thing. It's so cool to see all of this positive response. Again, I've not seen it because there's been no dates near me yet. But it's funny. People are just discovering, it sounds like, Phil X, who's been around forever, and who, by the way, was actually in a version of Triumph like 25 years ago. And Kearns and Fitz, who are like, have been on this show like 20 times, you know, and have been in Slash's band since it started, The Conspirators. But do you see, this is why, like, it's interesting. People connect with stuff through different ways. Like Joel there on that phone call, sounding like he's never heard Phil X or Fitz or Kearns. And all of them have done a ton of other stuff. Again, Brent and Todd are in major guys in Slash's band, still are. But now they're out there with Triumph, and now they're finally on his radar. Same with Phil. So it's just interesting. You know, some people just, they don't pick up on stuff. They don't connect with people until they see them in certain settings or with certain bands or certain environments. But yeah, those guys are all super talents. I've known it for about 20, 30 years, and they've all been on this show many times. By the way, I had an interview with Phil X a few months ago. He was on last. You can hear it on the Sirius XM app if you want. Get a little bit more of his story. Joel, what time do I need to, how do we want to do this with breaks? Because we got to talk to Richie for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
and then we're going to back time into his song.
Yeah, so we have another break to take. So let's take another couple of callers, I'd say, and then, you know, we could take the break, maybe fit in another caller or two while we get Richie on the line, and then we'll play his song around the 52-minute mark of the hour.
How long is the song? Like 3-4 minutes?
It's a little over 4 minutes.
4. Okay. All right. So I should take a couple more calls and take our next break at like what? 35, 30?
Yeah, depending on how much time you want to give Richie. So I would play it that way.
We only need like 5-10 minutes with him. He just wants to talk about the song and they'll let people hear it.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. We'll go back to the phones then. And let's say hello to Joe, who's joining us from Pennsylvania today. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Ed. How you doing today?
Good, Joe. Thanks.
Let me get you off speaker. There we go. Hey, I just had a couple of questions for you. I know you just got back from the Summer 99 cruise there not too long ago. And I was really curious. I wanted to hear what your thoughts were on the band Feel. I knew I was kind of excited that you're going to get to see them. And I wanted to see what your thoughts were.
I was glad to see them. I saw them half of 2 of their sets, I believe. They had some issues in certain settings with sound, and I believe where they were playing, they weren't in the big venues, obviously. But I liked what they were doing. There was times I thought they got a little jammy at times, which is kind of like part of their thing. But I did like them. They're still really, really young. I did do a Q&A with them on the cruise as well. I think they're only going to get better. I actually have heard some of their new music, which is really good, that hasn't come out yet. So I absolutely liked them, but I still need to hear and see more live to see how it continues to come together. I think they're still kind of gelling a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd seriously, encourage you to see them if you get a chance again. I mean, I saw them toward the end of December, I guess, and I walked in there basically knowing maybe 2-3 songs I was familiar with, and I'm telling you what, they blew me away. I mean, I went in. I mean, it just goes to show you didn't need to know the songs; just the feel, the vibe.
Where did Joe? Did you see them on a cruise or on a headline show in their own set?
No, it was a headline show. It was in Harrisburg, PA, back in December, and I mean, and then it's unfortunate. There was like less than 100 people in that room, I mean, it was.
Well, that's not
very
surprising because they're not a known band, so it's really hard for them to play a headline show. I mean, that's a tough spot.
I mean, these guys were. I mean, I'm talking. They were in Massachusetts the night before. They hit Harrisburg, went back to Rhode Island, and went to Philadelphia. I mean, they're on the road, man. They're out there. They're tearing it up. And I mean, in the show, I mean, I felt like I just wanted. I was sad when it was over. I mean, I wanted more. And I'll tell you what, I haven't been excited about. I mean, I hate to say this. I mean, I've seen pretty much everything. I've seen it all over the years. And I've seen the biggest bands to the smallest bands. I'll tell you what, I haven't been this excited over seeing a band and what they're doing in quite a long time.
Well,
and, I really hope you get a chance to see them like on their own somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. I want to see a show when I kind of like you did, and I don't care how many people are there. I wouldn't expect a lot of people to be there at this point in their career. And thank you, Joe, for the call. But I would, you really got to see a band in a proper setting, their own show, even if it's in a club, a full set. Sometimes some of these cruise situations are tough. It's outside, it's windy, things aren't working right, what have you. It's, always not the best environment sometimes, and they're rushed, they don't get a sound check, whatever it may be. I love Vane. I saw Vane on Monsters of Rock, and they had a problem one night where they were playing every 2-3 songs. They had to stop, and they had some equipment stuff going on. So, you got those variables. It's a great environment on a cruise ship, but still, it's a different kind of setting. But to me, they're a band that is still developing, clearly really talented, love what they do, love what they stand for. And I'm going to obviously keep an eye on them, and I'm looking forward to this new record. And I did enjoy seeing them live, but I still feel like there's layers there that still have yet to be peeled away, that they're just going to get better and develop more. And they're young, so that would be, that would be expected, right? Let's say hi to John in New York. He's been waiting a long time, so let's get him in here real quick. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Eddie, I just want to ask you why UFO were never a big selling band, despite being very influential and worshipped by many musicians. They toured with a lot of big-name bands, but I don't think they ever had a gold album in the USA. Do you think it had to do with Chrysalis Records, since the only big-name acts on Chrysalis were Jethro Tull, Blondie, Pat Benatar, and Billy Idol?
Well, I think, John, a lot of people, when they ask that question about UFO, point to one thing happening that really derailed them, and that's Michael Schenker leaving in 1979, because they were just about to really break in America, and then Michael left, and Michael was a guitar hero. He was a young, good-looking guy, and he was absolutely the star of that band at that time. And they put out a great studio record with him, with Obsession. And then the live album, Strangers in the Night, comes out, which in my opinion is maybe the greatest live album of all time. And that's Michael all over it. But when they toured for that stuff, Michael was not in the band. And people were very upset about it at the time. And his replacement, Paul Chapman, I love. And thank you, John, for the call. But people were upset because Paul was not Michael. And that really, really hurt them. There were a lot of people that felt if Michael would have stayed and they would have toured in support of Strangers in the Night with Michael on guitar, that would have put them over the top. And that lineup change was a big, big blow to them. There was a period of time where people didn't know. They would go to shows around that time and didn't know who was showing up on guitar because they had Paul Chapman with them in case Schenker didn't show up. And I have friends that went to those shows, and they said that people would stand there and give the finger to Chapman because he wasn't Schenker, which was totally unfair. But that's how it was back then, especially when you're replacing an iconic guy like Schenker was at that time. So that was a big, big thing. And to this day, people are like, oh, there's no UFO without Schenker. I totally disagree with that, by the way. but I do understand it because that was a huge moment when they lost Michael. And that really, I think, hurt them in the development of the band. We try to get 2 quick ones in here before we take the break. Jeff in New York. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, Eddie. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure, man.
Going along with the Iron Maiden thing, have you had opportunity yet to see the Paul Di'Anno documentary that's coming out?
Yes.
In June?
I talked about it earlier this week in detail.
Yeah, sorry. I missed it. Sorry. I just saw the documentary.
I forget what day, but you can hear it on the app. But I did talk about it. I did see it, and we're going to have the director on in a couple weeks.
Oh, very nice. I just saw it on Wednesday at Nighthawk Cinema in Brooklyn, and the director was there and did a great Q&A afterwards.
I loved it. Did you like it?
Oh, yeah. It was amazing. It was super depressing, super sad.
Yep.
But great. Very, very well done.
What about the scene when they show his knee operations?
That was tough because I don't know if you know Nighthawk Cinema. It's a movie theater where you could eat while you're watching a movie. So as I'm biting into my chicken sandwich and seeing that scene, it was like, okay, I need to put this down for a minute. But
Jeff, I watched it. Jeff, I had a screener copy of it, and I was watching it on a plane. And I got to admit, during that scene, I had to turn away from my screen like 3-4 times. I couldn't believe what they were showing. It was like, and by the way, during it, playing Murders in the Rue Morgue.
Yeah. And Wes was saying how he was trying to time the snare drum to the hammering of the whatever tools they were using. Yeah, it was it's well done but tough to watch.
That scene in particular, but overall, I agree with you. It was really, really good. I forget what day I talked about it. I think it was on Tuesday or something. But if you go back and pull that show on the app, you'll hear me talk more about it. But it was real good.
Yeah, it was amazing. I'll check out your show and listen to your talk about it.
And Wes is scheduled to sit in with us in a couple weeks. He's actually a listener of the show, and we have him scheduled. He's going to be in Vegas, so we're going to have him in studio to talk about it.
Excellent. I look forward to listening.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you. So, Joel, should I take the break now?
Yeah, let's take the break.
All right. So we're going to go to a break. We're going to get Richie Kotzen on the phone, talk to him for a few minutes, and then we're going to play for you to close the show his brand new
For All Friday.
It's insane.
Trunk Nation.
Best show in the history of radio.
With Eddie Trunk.
I love it too.
All right, we got a few minutes left to go before we close out the show and close out the week. Back live with you guys on Tuesday after the holiday weekend. And again, it's been a tremendous week with tremendous guests. Alice Cooper yesterday, and Stuart Copeland of The Police was on with us, and Michael Anthony, of course, of Van Halen fame, Glenn Matlock last week, Neil Schon of Journey. Just a bunch of great, great guests. Jason Newsted last week as well. Use the weekend to get caught up on anything you may have missed. And before we wrap up for the week and wrap up the show, we're going to take a few minutes here at the end to talk to a good friend and one of my favorite musicians, and that would be Richie Kotzen. He released a new song today called Catch a Star, and we're going to do something we don't normally do. We're going to give you an entire song to end the show and take us into the weekend.
It looks like he dropped. We got it.
Right.
Just give it a second. We'll get him back.
Before we play that song, we're going to talk to Richie when his phone comes back online. You know, where he is in Southern California, they're getting hit with some fires again, too. I always worry about him because he's in that bad zone where he gets a lot of that stuff. I'm not saying he dropped his call because of that, but I hope he's okay because, man, I was at his house once. He had the fires, the flames were like came right up to like the side of his house. It's just crazy, man, what goes on there sometimes with these fires and stuff that goes on. All right, it looks like we got him back. Richie, you there?
Yeah, right when you were talking, the phone dropped out. Sorry about that.
No worries. I was just saying, you guys there's some fires in your area again, right? Are you guys all right?
Oh my God, yes, there is, and we're fine, thankfully. But it's very stressful. It is.
I would imagine. I can't imagine, but yeah, I would think it is. I know you're in that zone, but I'm glad you're okay. So listen, I got a few minutes here because we want to play your song in its entirety to end the show. New song out today, Catch a Star. Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, it's a new single. I didn't want to wait for a full album. I've got a lot of stuff in the works that I've been writing, and this one finished early. And I thought, well, because we can do this now with the way things are, why not put it out? So hopefully it leads to a bigger thing, a full record. But as it is now, it's just a single. And, the song is just really about perspective and possibility. People lose their way and get burned by disappointment or ego or whatever. So it's kind of about not staying stuck there and, keep your head up, don't look backwards, and find your place in the world and reach for something higher. So there you go. That's the gist of the new song.
You do people that follow you on social media, and I certainly do. You do some fun stuff on there, and you put videos and all that sort of stuff. And I remember just recently I saw a video and you were you were putting like a bass thing down. Because for people that don't know, on most of Richie's recordings, he does everything himself. But you were recording something, you were like trying to match, I don't know what you're doing, matching bass to a keyboard part or something. And your wife walked in and you're like, I'm really worried that people are going to think this was AI that did this when people can see I'm really putting the work in to do this the right way. Tell me about that. Is that this song?
Well, yeah, and the thing is, when people ask, are you worried about AI? Actually, no. I don't really care who uses it, who doesn't. I just don't want to get caught up in being accused of using it when I'm not. And that actually happened on my last record. I put out a record in 2024. I had a song in there called Insomnia, and the background vocals, I layered this stuff, which takes a long time. If you're a singer, you go in the studio, you sing it once, and you go on another track, you double it, maybe you do it 2 more times, so there's 4 singing the melody, and so on and so forth. With every note of the harmony, you might have 12 to 16 voices of yourself stacked. It takes a long time to do that and make it sound good. And somebody on my YouTube said, "Oh my God, I can't believe you used AI on the vocals." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is horrible. That's me singing. It took me a long time to do that." So that's my real worry, is that people are going to just assume that anything that you do that normally would require a lot of work is suddenly going to be AI. And I don't. Yeah, that would be my only real worry about it, I guess,
That's it, but that's an interesting perspective, though. But you don't have a problem with it overall. Do you use it at all in terms of creating music, like ideas?
No, I've been creating music my whole life. My whole life is me getting an idea for a song, and figuring out what I want to sing and what I want to write. Even more so than playing the guitar, I am more focused on composition and writing songs and lyrics than I am actually learning new stuff on the guitar. So no, I use it for math, or picking, talking about a stock position that I might have gotten involved in, research. Yeah. But not for my art. No, although, for, the idea of images and what have you, I think that could be interesting, but no, not for writing my music that I've been writing since I can remember,
So the single only, maybe a record, you'll see how it goes. And then are you looking at doing any live shows? You played with Adrian Smith. You did stuff in Europe recently, right?
Yeah, we went to South America. We were in Europe, and we did 6 weeks in Europe, and we did 4 shows in South America. It was great, but I'm taking the year off from live performance. So I don't have any intention of booking any live shows for the rest of the year, because I want to stay in the lane of creativity, and I want to stay in the lane of developing this music. I'm in a similar headspace that I was back when I did 50 for 50, where I did a lot of touring, and then I just was like, I just want to record and create. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking about now.
Yeah, and the song is out. Are you going to do a video for it?
I did a lyric video. So there's a lyric video on YouTube that basically is me, singing along with a cartoon effect over my face and the lyrics coming up. But it's just something, people seem these days to like to have something to watch while they're listening. I'm much more about the audio than I am the visual, but there is something there. A lyric video, you can see the lyrics coming up and my cute face singing along. And I played the guitar solo. I think it's pretty accurate, actually, for the guitar players that want to hear what I did. I made sure that when I filmed that, it was pretty accurate. So there you go.
And is there anybody else on the track besides you, or is this one where you did 100% on everything?
No, there's nobody else involved. But that's not to say that there won't be people involved in the future. So we'll see. But on this particular song, it's just me.
All right. Anything else coming up you want people to know about?
No, check out the single. I hope you dig it. And I'm just going to be up here, working on my music, doing what I do.
All right. Well, make sure those, keep an eye on those fires. Are we still getting together tomorrow or what?
Eddie, I didn't want to say this on the air, but I will. I hurt my foot really bad, and I can't walk right now. It's ridiculous. I have to let this. Yeah, I got to let it heal. I can't put pressure on my right foot. I don't want to get into details, but I've been watching TV for the last couple of days.
Were you playing basketball, or what'd you do?
I can't get into it, but I'm injured, but I'm going to be fine. It'll be fine.
All right.
I'll tell you later.
All right, so you're banged up. So, all right, because I was going to go see our buddy. I was going to go see our buddy Jeff Scott Soto. I still may do it. I thought you were going to come, but yeah, I know you do. So.
I love Jeff. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll take a rain check. Right. We'll get together another time.
All right. Yeah. Well, call me later. I'll tell you what happened.
All right. All right. Listen. Good talking to you. And again, stay safe there and take care of that foot. And I'll talk to you soon. And we'll let you go, and we'll get ready to play the song for everybody to hear it. It's out today.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right. See ya. Thanks, Richie. There goes Richie Kotzen, everybody, checking in with us here on Trunk Nation. And, yeah, we had lunch plans tomorrow, so I just found out we're not having lunch. All right. It's better to find out on the air than not at all. He would have texted me, I'm sure. So, all right. So listen, you just heard a little bit about the song. We're going to wrap it up and play the song here again to close the show. Greatly appreciate all the amazing guests the last couple weeks. Greatly appreciate you guys, of course, for listening to Trunk Nation and spreading the word as always. I tell people all the time we're 10 years in on doing this daily rock talk show thing, and always good to see it growing and spreading still. So it's never too late to tell others. Follow on social media at Eddie Trunk, X, Instagram, page on Facebook. EddieTrunk.com is the website. Show account at Trunk Nation SXM, X, Instagram, and on TikTok. And don't forget, we got a YouTube page with videos. We got more videos coming of some of the interviews. So you can go there and see some of the interviews that we've done as well. So again, thanks to Richie for that check-in. Thanks to you guys for a great week. I hope everybody has a fantastic Memorial weekend and enjoy the 3 days if you're lucky enough to have them all off. And we will get back together again on Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern, talking rock music with you. Have a good, healthy, safe weekend. Again, remember the reason for the holiday on Monday. We thank all those that made the ultimate sacrifice and remember and celebrate them. And again, enjoy whatever you're getting into. Have yourself a good one. And keep an eye on socials. We'll let you know what we're doing next week. But when we get back on Tuesday, we'll be getting back into it